This is Public Safety in Focus. Minnesota State Fire Marshal Division investigators are still working with local fire and law enforcement officials to determine the cause of a recent explosion in a rural Dakota County town that left one woman dead and a man severely injured. The explosion in Hampton leveled the home and launched debris hundreds of feet. The incident is investigated as a potential propane-fueled explosion, though the exact cause is still under investigation. The snow is piling up, and so are traffic crashes, spinouts, and vehicles in ditches. Please drive with extra caution in poor weather, and pay attention for law enforcement and rescue crews at crash scenes. Between February 1st and February 14th, more than 12 Minnesota State Patrol squad vehicles have been hit on the side of the road. Be patient with slower drivers. It could be a teen out in the snow or ice for the first time, a new mother who is being extra cautious, or a person who has crashed before and is trying to prevent another mishap. St. Louis County will be getting some much-needed help to recover from devastating gale force winds that caused damage last fall. The presidential disaster declaration means FEMA will reimburse communities for repairs to public property infrastructure. Some of those damages include flooding to public property, a battered lakeside boardwalk, and overwhelmed water sewer systems. HSEM will work with FEMA to fund 75% of approved costs. Minnesota will cover the other 25%. BCA scientists used DNA to identify the remains of a University of Minnesota student who went missing 49 years ago. Gloria Rican disappeared one morning in November of 1970 after she left for class on foot. Rican's family, the BCA and Mille Lacs County Sheriff, announced a DNA match to remains exhumed belonging to a Jane Doe found in the rubble of a burned Mille Lacs County house around the same time.
And from this point forward, we will start trying to determine exactly the circumstances surrounding Gloria's death and what occurred with her.
Investigators asked the public to come forward with any information about Rican's disappearance, and for family members of missing people to provide DNA samples for comparisons to other unidentified remains.
However, there are still many unidentified people here in Minnesota with DNA in the missing persons database waiting to be searched against their loved ones.
The BCA has obtained DNA from 50 unidentified remains whose families have not yet come forward. HSEM hosted emergency managers from across the state during its 54th annual Govs Conference. The three-day training opportunity offered lessons learned from recent disasters, best practices for emergency response, and new ideas in emergency preparedness. It was also an opportunity for emergency responders to be greeted by new Governor Tim Walz. The Minnesota Motorcycle Safety Center brought the Smart Trainer riding simulator and rider coaches to the International Motorcycle Show in February. People lined up at the booth to get training information and find out what riding skills they need to brush up on this season. Training is open for registration now. Find a training site and register at motorcyclesafety.org. And that's Public Safety in Focus.